Now, as it pushes into I-35, that's where we're a little bit concerned because we do have the chance for it to hit some very higher populated areas. Now, it is just a radar indicated rotation, so we are going to continue to keep our eye on it as this entire thing moves forward. And of course, we still have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings across the region. San Saba pushing its way toward 183. And that's going to stay in effect for a while. Watch warnings. Okay, whole area is under severe thunderstorm watch right now. You do have a couple of places under severe thunderstorm warning, and of course we do have that tornado warning. So what to do? Now we have that tornado warning. It's pushing its way into Bruceville Eddy within the next half an hour or so. Get to the lowest level of your home. Get away from windows. You want to cover your head. We're talking anything at this point. It could be a bicycle helmet, construction hat, whatever you have laying around. Could even be a very thick blanket. Mattress is going to be preferred. Keep your shoes on in case you need to evacuate. But where do you want to go in your house? Well, that's going to be where you want the safest place. Basement, interior room, stairwell, or a hallway on a low floor. Worst place anywhere in the red here. Avoid windows, doors, outside walls. You want to be in the middle of the house. Of course, that's mostly because of possible flying debris across the region. Now, throughout the day today, tornado risk was low, but it wasn't zero. And that's exactly the kind of situation that we're in right now, where we're actually getting that tornado warned storm system. Let me go ahead and back up on the graphics system real quick. I want to actually zoom in just a little bit more within the storm itself. Remember, if you guys are just hopping on right now, this is a tornado warned storm. It is part of the dual thunderstorm warned system that started right around Event, kind of pushing its way into Gatesville. Now, this tornado warning is in effect until about 5 o'clock. So next 20 minutes or so, we're still going to be seeing this entire system stay warned. Now, what you want to look for in the radar is more of a hook echo. That's basically the defining characteristic on radar of where a tornado is. We're not really seeing too much of the hook, but you can kind of see it a little bit right around the Moody region, just to the north of Troy, pushing into I-35 into the Bruceville Eddy region. Now, this was a dual kind of severe thunderstorm warning storm because you had the cell itself kind of splitting up a little bit. We're looking for the little bits of purple. Those are going to be the hail cores. We were getting reports up to maybe 1.5 inches to almost 2 inches in diameter hail. That was the biggest threat with these storms to begin with, so we don't have to worry too much about that. However, we are still going to worry about the tornado warning across the region. I am actually going to drop off the screen for just a quick second. I want to be able to see exactly what kind of readings we are getting from the actual storm itself. So, tornado warning for southwestern McLennan County, northeastern Bell County. Of course, it's still just radar indicated rotation. Flying debris is going to be the biggest type of issue with this. Now, we have been seeing some very broad scale rotation across the region, so we are still going to continue to keep our eye on it. Let me actually put a tracker on this. You can see just the amount of actual lightning within this storm too. So we're seeing widespread showers, thunderstorms, hail. It is going to be pushing its way toward Bruceville Eddy within the next couple of minutes. That's why we have that tornado warning inbound. Cottonwood School right around 4:47, Levi 4:48, Chilton right around 4:52, and then pushing its way toward Marlin around 5:04. Now, these storms themselves have been very slow moving, and that's exactly what we don't want to see. That's how you typically get the most amount of damage within a lot of these storms, because you have the hail kind of hanging around the region for quite some time. That's enough to cause damage to vehicles, to people, to property, especially for houses. You're going to have those roofs get damaged, and then even trees. Trees can handle water and some hail to an extent. Once they hit that limit, that's when they start to fall and break apart. And that's where you start to see a lot more in terms of property damage. Nothing really right now to the south, but we're still watching that velocity. We're looking for that very bright red and that very bright green to be right in the middle. And that's exactly what we're seeing just as it's pushing toward I-35. That tornado warning is in effect. Now notice the tornado warning is only in effect until 5 o'clock. But the severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until about 5:15. So let me actually explain the difference with that. So tornado warning means that on the radar we have indicated tornadic rotation. We haven't received any reports yet if it's actually on the ground or if we could see it. You saw just the size of this entire cell. It's very likely to be rain wrapped if it is on the ground. So that means no matter what, you probably won't be able to see it coming. Don't try to go out and see it coming, especially because of the dangerous situation. Severe thunderstorm warning, well, that's going to be a couple of different factors. You're going to want something possibly about a quarter-sized hail in diameter and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts or above. That's enough to issue severe thunderstorm warnings across the region. For tornado warnings, of course, that's just going to be that tornado indicated rotation, very defined rotation on the radar itself. Right now, across the rest of the region, we're not seeing too much. We're seeing more broad scale rotation. That's pretty typical of an actual supercell. These are the kind of systems that we get with a lot of the showers and thunderstorms that we see. So with this cold front, we're basically having two types of systems kind of coming through. We have very strong southerly winds coming up, and that's what's basically causing a lot of the moisture in the atmosphere to kind of build up and lead to a lot of this tornadic activity across the region. Then you start to have a lot of those northerly winds coming in behind the actual cold front that we have pushing through the region. Yeah, that is going to basically mean you have the two different types of rotations kind of combining in all at once. And that is exactly what creates large-scale supercells like this, with very generalized hail cores in the middle here, and then you have from the outside of them, you start to see a little bit of that rotation. So we're going to stay on air. If you guys are just joining us, tornado warning has been issued for southern parts of McLennan County, northern parts of Bell County, pushing into the Bruceville-Eddy region of I-35, just to the north of Troy, south of Waco, kind of almost on a direct path toward Marlin. We're going to keep our eyes on this system over the next couple of about 15 minutes or so until the actual warning goes away. So we are going to stay with you guys. Sorry it happens to happen during Jeopardy, but here's what I got for you right now. There's actually going to be a flood advisory issued. This has been popped up by the National Weather Service. We're seeing with how slowly this entire system is moving, we're seeing reports 1 to 2 inches of actual rainfall. And once it hits over 2 inches, given our drought situation, yeah, this is going to be some pretty nasty stuff, which is unfortunate because, you know what, we could certainly use the rain, but when it becomes flooding rain, that's the least ideal situation for us, especially when you have very dry grass across the region. You're not going to be getting a lot of that grass or dirt absorbing the moisture, so that's why we are going to have that flood advisory be issued. Now, this tornado warning, again, in effect for the next 15 minutes. I'm still seeing very large cell. Now, this was actually a dual cell type of situation, where we were seeing a little bit more of two types of actual warnings. You had one kind of pushing to the north, but that's actually the little cell right around Crawford right now, while the one to the south, that's the one right around Moody. And of course, that's the one that's actually stayed warning and of course has led to that tornado warning. So let's go over a couple of safety tips with you guys. So we do have that velocity reading. You can really see that bright green, that bright red together, kind of pushing its way into Bruceville-Eddy, right in between Lorena as well as Troy. Very strong winds and wind gusts across the region, getting up to over 60 miles per hour. That's what happens when you have those strong southerly winds coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, combined with those northerly winds brought in by that very strong cold front. You get a lot of these very strong, large-scale systems, basically known as supercells. So we have lots of lightning associated with this system. Now, how about actual hail readings? These are the newest hail readings from the region. We were seeing in Gatesville, right along that highway there, up to about golf ball to tennis ball sized hail. A lot of the storm reports that we've been getting, anywhere from about 1.5 inches in diameter to about 2 inches in diameter. And a lot of this is actually making it to the ground. It's not just staying in the clouds. That's typically what the actual radar picks up, is the very bottom layer of the clouds. but with how warm it's been, it typically melts a little bit and you get basically a little bit of a fighting chance, or any kind of property gets kind of fighting chance. Not really getting at with this system. Now, new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued, kind of pushing in towards the I-35 corridor, very slowly though. We're talking about the one just north of Lampasas. We're talking Adamsville, places like Lametta as well. They're only getting about pea to nickel sized hail with this system, but again, this is a very large scale system across the region. Watches, warnings, what have we got going on here? We got a lot going on, okay? Severe thunderstorm watch has been issued for much of central Texas, as well as the Brazos Valley. And that basically means conditions are favorable for severe weather. A lot of these storms we've been saying over the last couple of days, they did have the potential to become severe. And well, that's exactly what we saw. Severe weather is occurring in your location. That's imminent. That's warning. That's why we have that active tornado warning. We have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. That basically means, yeah, we're getting large scale systems with this. So what to do? Tips in case of severe weather. What we got for you guys: get to the lowest point of your home, get away from windows. Be sure to put your shoes on. That's going to be something just so simple, but you want to be able to evacuate if you have to, no matter what it is. You also want to keep away from windows. You want to cover up your head. You want to be able to do that. Let me actually show you a large scale map here showing the actual watches, warnings, advisories across the region. So we have that severe thunderstorm watch across the entirety of central Texas and the Brazos Valley. You have the individual warning boxes. Those are the severe thunderstorm warnings. We just had that one in San Saba to the north of Lampasas. We have the one from Gatesville that's pushing into the region. Then we have that tornado warning. That's going to be that big red box. That's sitting right there in between McLennan County, Bell County, and that's where we're starting to see a lot more defined rotation across the region. Now, this entire system, of course, this kind of actually shows a little bit more of that activity. Very strong southerly to southeasterly winds. That's pulling a lot of moisture ahead of this frontal system. That's exactly what we're seeing. You can see all of these showers and thunderstorms all across the Lone Star State. And it's not just limited to Texas. Look at this. It's pushing its way into Louisiana, Arkansas, and of course into the eastern parts of Oklahoma. Now, you probably saw yesterday all the reports of those very strong tornadoes in central parts of Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, this is the exact same system that caused that. Now, we're not looking at wide-scale tornado outbreaks like we typically see this time of year. We are very lucky with that. As a matter of fact, we are just seeing that one tornado outbreak associated with that very large cell situated right in between Gatesville, Temple, Waco, and Killeen. And notice just how quickly it is growing across the region as well. That's what we're really seeing as being the big threat across the area. All right. Here's what I got for you guys. They've actually pushed that tornado warning a little bit farther to the south. It's still encompassing places like Bruceville Eddy as well as Moody. That's going to stay in effect until about 5 o'clock. So we're going to continue to keep our eye on it. You can still see just to the south of Crawford, right along that highway there that connects Waco, Gatesville, and Evans together. Yeah, we're still seeing that very large hail core. Reports already showing anywhere from about 1 inch to 2 inch in diameter hail, enough to cause significant damage across the region. Let me actually take the velocity reading and zoom it in for you guys a little bit, because that's where you can see real significant rotation across the region. It's sitting right around Moody. Let me actually see if I can draw something up a little bit here. You could see right around there. That's where it's starting to move across the region. We're seeing, again, Bruceville Eddy within the next minute or so. It should be starting to push right to the south. We're seeing that very defined rotation all across the area because of those combining wind systems. Now, it is continuing to push toward the elementary school as well as Moorville, but it should be able to calm down right around Chilton. They haven't issued this warning for very long. It's only been about half an hour for this warning, so that's certainly some good news. Earlier, before this warning was issued, yeah, we saw basically broad scale rotation across the region. That's pretty typical with a lot of these supercells across the area. So we're going to continue to keep our eyes on this entire system as it moves around the entire region. Now, of course, hail readings from this system wow, they are getting pretty strong. They're not as bad as they were a little bit earlier. Gatesville seemed to have gotten the worst of it, where we saw anywhere from about golf ball to almost tennis ball sized hail. Certainly not what we want to see, but now it basically looks like we're going down to about quarter sized hail. Now that's still certainly going to be enough to see a lot of the severe thunderstorm warning. As a matter of fact, yeah, it looks like they're going to be issuing a new severe thunderstorm for the Coryell and Bell County on the north side of Fort Hood. So we are still starting to see a lot of activity as we go into the evening. Certainly not the most ideal evening to be seeing lots of these showers and thunderstorms popping up across the region, but this is what we have been given. So there's only so much more with that. You still see that one kind of pushing to the north of Land Passes, Adamsville, starting to see that severe thunderstorm warning staying in effect for the next hour or so. We're only getting about pea to maybe nickel-sized hail within that system itself, but of course, we're going to keep our eye on it and keep you ahead of the storm. We already got over the watches and the warnings, of course. We're still going to keep you updated on that. Conditions are certainly very favorable for severe weather. You want to pay close attention. Have multiple ways to receive alerts. Of course, you can download the KCEN app. All you have to do is text weather to 254-777-6000. That is 254-777-6000. Now, once the storm has actually passed its way outside of our area, what you want to do, probably send us in some pictures. We'll be happy to show them to you on the system. Now, you want to wait until, of course, the entire storm is out of the region. You don't want to be sending us pictures of tornadoes as you're in an active warning. Do not do that. Leave that to the professional storm chasers. Even that is still extremely dangerous. So what you want to do, this is how you stay safe during severe weather. Get to the lowest level of your home. Get away from windows, please. With these very strong winds associated with this entire system, we're starting to see some very large scale debris getting flying around the region. You don't want to see that, especially with a lot of this hail. This is going to be knocking down all kinds of power lines, any type of tree damage. It does say that we are seeing still even the chance for some of that flooding coming in because of how strong a lot of these how long, these have been kind of hanging around the region. Put your shoes on and, of course, cover up your head. Of course, here is a great example of what we have going on across the region. Hold on, just so, safest place, basement, interior room, stairwell, or hallway on the lowest floor. Worst place, going to be windows, doors, and of course any outside walls. You want to stay away from any type of that stuff. Yes, of course you want to be protected in case of the system. Now, severe threats still maintaining going to be damaging winds and damaging hail across the region throughout the day today. Now, heavy rain, not so much of a large threat, but it's still going to be large enough because some of these storms, they're not moving as fast as we originally anticipated. Now, much of the actual systems, once this front comes through and the storms are to the east of your area, you're going to be fine. We do have the chance to see a little bit of those showers, maybe some thunderstorms going into the overnight hours, but most of those should not be severe, at least if the front has already passed you. Here's what I got for you over the next couple of hours. We are seeing right now this very large scale cell system kind of hanging around the I-35 corridor. That's going to be pushing out to the I-45 region right around Mejia, Fairfield, kind of pushing even farther south toward Killeen, Temple, and Marlin right around 7 o'clock tonight. Then it's going to still maintain very strong strength across the region until it gets past the Brazos Valley. That's going to be right around 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Then it clears out entirely. You still have the chance to see maybe some isolated showers, maybe a little bit of a thunderstorm during the early parts of Friday morning, but that's going to be about it. By Friday afternoon, look at that. We are staying nice and clear across the region. Saturday morning, well, the winds start to change a little bit. We go back to that east-southeasterly flow, and we're back to basically mostly cloudy skies with the chance for some more showers and thunderstorms. Now, severe risk with those systems remains very low right now, so that's certainly going to be some good news. We are not seeing anything too widespread, at least across the region. We are still seeing that severe thunderstorm.
Yeah, we actually have a new tornado warning now that's been issued. This is going to be for Bells and Falls County, as they're expecting this line to be crossing the border here within the next 10 to 15 minutes. They're just saying a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is going to cross into these areas. So right now, if you are in Bell or Falls County, it is the time to get in your safe space. And meteorologist Jordan Fraser has already talked about it a little bit. You're going to want to get into areas away from those windows and the furthermost part of your house, a closet, a bathroom. Again, we're expecting this line to move into Bell and Falls in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Now, this tornado warning, that is going to be until 5:45. Now, the current tornado warning that's been issued for McLennan County, that is set to expire at 5 o'clock. So just about 4 minutes from now, we still have multiple severe thunderstorms. So we are in for a very long afternoon and a very long evening as we are tracking the system. As I was saying this morning, the main threat with this was hail, which is what we've been seeing a lot of. A lot of hail, a lot of lightning associated with these storms, especially in areas west of I-35. But now as this line is going to cross the I-35 corridor, it's encountering an environment that is going to be favorable to produce tornadoes. And that's exactly what we're continuing to see. And this environment is very moist, it's very warm outside, and we'll continue to see that be the case until we get into around sunset, which is about 2 hours from now. And by then, this line will already be in the Brazos Valley.
Absolutely, and of course we're going to keep you on air informed no matter what, of course, at least until these warnings entirely go away. You can see exactly where that old tornado warning was, right around the Moody region along I-35. Now you can see the new warning. It's actually kind of shifted its way a little bit farther to the southeast, basically including Troy, Marlin. At the end of that, that's going to be staying 45 minutes, so we are going to continue how large this cell is. It looks like it's actually kind of combining that we were seeing a little bit earlier today. Warned area, and of encompassing all of basically parts of Bell County. Yeah, that been warned at least until about 5:15. Extend that because we are seeing it. Of course, we're seeing hail easy over an inch in diameter, even get tornado warning. Of course, if you guys are just northern parts of McLennan County, northern parts of toward Chilton, toward Lott, toward Troy as well right now. More of that. So you right around the Troy area. We get very strong